Go Mets fans, there we go. That is how you bounce back after simply a lifeless game there in their finale against the White Sox of Southside. How's it going, everybody? It's your guy Wardy here, and we're back at it with our latest New York Metropolitan post-game show presented by BetUS and SeatGeek. And tonight we have to break down the glorious outing, the man who started and ended this ball game the best way that he knew how, Francisco Lindor, more like Francisco Limbombs. My goodness gracious, we have a lot to talk about on the Francisco Lindor front as El Captain came to play today. The Mets captain, the unofficially official captain, as we all know, balled out big time. And this came on the same day that we saw a fantastic piece of work there from Will Salmon of The Athletic that I implore you guys to check out, that we broke down our video that dropped earlier today, guys, on how Lindor goes out of his way to talk to each player in their locker pretty much individually before the start of every single series. Again, showcasing that captain mentality. Not only is he doing it with the on-field prog, thanks to not one but two bombs that we saw today, bang for both the left and the right side, but it's the leadership qualities that truly trump everything else that makes Lindor such a one-of-one player that I'm so excited to break down from this 4-2 victory. Not only did Lindor step up with the offensive heroics, but Juan Soto had himself a multi-hit day, so we'll get into what stood out so much about Juan today, good, bad, ugly, everything in between. Pitching-wise, David Pearson towing the rubber against a measly Rockies team. How did he fare in this outing is what we're going to get into, and everything in between, as well as answering all your comments, questions, and concerns to everyone watching the show live. If you guys are consuming this in a replay fashion after I've been live here, please let me know all your key reactions and thoughts in the comments down below to the latest Metropolitan victory here, this time by a final score of 4-2. But as we kickstart every show, folks, I gotta see those W spam in the live chat right here, right now, especially if you guys are a member. I want to see it big time. Start spamming those W's in the chat and the comments down below to everybody as well. Same exact applies to each and every one of you. Doesn't matter if I'm live or not. I want to see those W spam. We always do it after every single big victory. And to my members, if you guys want to become a member, we have a link down below in the description for you guys to check out our member options. We just did a members only live show just this past day on the platform for you guys. And also we have W emojis specifically for member only here in the live chat on YouTube and for our replay viewers as well, guys. But we got a lot of breakdown in this one. And Julia Hawkins, a great member on the platform, donated $2 before the show even started and stated the following: Soto showed some life. Soto did show some life, and we're going to expand as to what worked for Juan Soto today. How we doing? Sean MD, great member. Jay, how we doing? Scott, how we doing? G Money, how we doing? We got Rebecca, Steve Lawn, great members. We got Yoshima with the $2 holla, taking care of business indeed, baby. Thank you so much for that donation, Yoshima. Looking forward to you getting your rightfully deserved Brandon Nimmo jersey that you won on the platform the other day here. Scott Sandler, how we doing? Paradoxal, all these great members. Chad O'Neill, great member, going up the lister. RMX, Rebecca, great member. Dave Kaplitz, I'm sure, is in here, great member. Sean MD, if I didn't say that already. Eric Douglas, Ben the Scientist, how we doing? Mike Norden, how we doing? Going up the list here. We got a lot of people. Mike O'Brien, Danny, how we doing? Danny Berry Sports, E. Mori, how we doing? Michael Selton, Ryan, great member. Darren, great member. Daniel, how we doing? Going up the list. Leo, great member. We got a lot of people popping out tonight. D-Mac, how we doing? Great member as well. Killa, how we doing, baby? Scott Sandler, if I didn't say him already. Jason, how we doing, baby? All you guys, come on, come all. Appreciate you guys greatly. I'm excited. You guys have getting me hyped up to break down this ball game. How can I not be? Don't forget my anniversary post. Oh, of course not, Steve. Thank you so much for being in here. And Steve, thank you so much for being such a long-time member the way that you have been. I really look forward to hitting a ball game with you this season as well. I know that's going to be absolutely electric. And also, as you guys can see in the live chat as well, some of you guys have emojis separate from the membership emojis next to your name. In case you guys are wondering what that is, those are new community emojis that pretty much give you XP, basically like bonus points based on how interactive you are in the live chat and how frequent you are commenting. So that is something that is anointed to not everyone that's in the chat, but to select people based on pretty much how much you've been supporting here. That's a newer feature by YouTube that they've unrolled out as of recent. So I'm really interested to see how you guys feel about that. But guys, I understand this wasn't the sexiest victory against a measly Rockies team, and I need this Mets team to at minimum sweep. I mean, there isn't a maximum, obviously, because a sweep is that, but I need a sweep at minimum and a maximum against this Rockies team. That is what needs to happen, everybody. Peter spamming the W's in the chat. Love to see it. Yoshima the $2 holla. Thank you so much for that. Yoshima says, screw it. Bat Beatty second tomorrow. And Beatty did not get the start today. We're going to expand on that in a second because no, it was not the right move by Mendoza. Yes, it was exposed yet again there with Vientos Vientos in the hot corner. And yes, Beatty was tremendous when he came in a ball game as a late game defensive replacement. Why? He got on base right away with a pinch hit, pull the right side. Why? Because he's a dog right now. That's why. Ralph, thank you so much for the $2 holla. I appreciate that as well. Frank Sessa with the $2 holla. Thank you so much. Aaron Jacobs, great member in here. D-Mac with the $2 holla states the following: encouraging increase in Soto's bat speed, 80 miles per hour. Yeah, not complaining about that at all. And D-Mac, thank you so much for the donation. There were some things I certainly liked from Soto's approach today with the plate. Didn't like him grinding into a double play for his final one there, but that's neither here nor there. Super weirdos who actually watch boring as hell baseball, and that is all you guys right now, because you guys are diehard fans with your guy Wardy here. So guys, as you know, after every big victory, we got to let it rip as we always do with the one, the only, the official WardyNYM post-game jingle. Get yourself ready to dance, folks. Let's have a fun one. Let's go! Let's go, baby! Oh, I hit the wrong button. All right, guys, we're going to run the jingle one more time. My apologies. One more time, folks, for the people in the back. Let's go. Shout out to my guys, as always, Greg and Jordan with the official WardyNYM post-game jingle. No matter how much you love it or hate it, it's here to stay, and it's part of the tradition here for our post-game shows. The #1 Metropolitan post-game show after every single game throughout the course of the 162 and playoffs here on the WardyNYM platform. How we doing? We got some more members in here. Daniel Caps, how we doing? Love it when Wardy bops to the beat. Hashtag legendary. And I love you, my man. Thank you so much for chiming in. How we doing, everybody? Going up the list here, I see Gerald. How are you, my man? I'm going up here. Frank Sessa, great member. JTB, great member. Eddie C, great member. Happy to have all you amazing Mets fans chiming in. Sean MD with the $5 holla states the following: screw it, Vientos is better. He is my third baseman. Beatty will never replace Mark for me based on what he did for us in the playoffs. Oh, okay. Sean with another $5 holla. Beatty gets hot for 2 weeks, and that's it. And then Vientos gets in one little run, and everyone is hating on him. LFGM. I love the fact that you're defending Mark when no one else is right now. When everyone else is so quick to say, get Vientos out of here and put Beatty at the hot corner. I agree. There is still a route for them both to thrive with this Mets team. I wholeheartedly agree, Sean. But I do not think that we should necessarily write Beatty off when clearly the Mets have something working there. I think we should give credit where credit's due on the Beatty front, as we should also bear in mind that Vientos still has a lot of potential. But the potential when it comes to the defense is obviously lacking. And with each passing day, the more that Vientos does not get consistent reps here at the hot corner, it will inevitably be his demise. You can't sit here comfortably and tell me as a Mets fan that by having Vientos get a game at the hot corner, then the next 48 hours at DH, and then he comes off the bench one game and then comes in later on there at third base, you can't tell me that that's going to be sustainable for him to build up his defense the way that he knows he needs to. It just doesn't make sense. Every single time Mark is out there, he has been more often than not a liability. And I don't say that proudly or happily. I'd like to make that clear. I'm just relaying what we're seeing with our very eyes. Vientos has had a costly error a good chunk of the time already this season, and today, I don't think he was actually accounted for the error, but it did lead to a run that was a little bit of a defensive blunder on his end that we saw in this ball game. So again, Mark Vientos, the bat to ball skills, we know there's still a lot of potential there, and I think he can absolutely thrive in that DH role, no doubt about it. And when you have a glove that is as good as what Brett Beatty is at third base, at second base, wherever you're going to have him in the infield, it makes it harder and harder and harder to warrant having Vientos at third and Beatty off the bench. It's one thing if you're having Beatty at second and Vientos at third. It's another one Beatty isn't even getting the start when that just isn't justified. I don't care who the Mets are facing starter-wise. Kyle Freeland is a bum, but of course he went 6 strong against the Mets today because the Mets against Southpaws are very fluctuating what you're getting. All the more reason to have Brett Beatty, who hit really well against both Garrett Crochet and the most dominant southpaw in the bullpen for the Red Sox in that series in Boston to tell you that Buddy can handle southpaws to a degree. I did not like him coming off the bench to begin this ballgame. Beatty was impactful as soon as he came in this ballgame, and it's not shocking that we kind of saw everything unravel defensively the way that I did in this matchup. Yoshimo with the $2 holla, thank you so much for that. He says, Starling Marte, Unk still got it. He does still got it. And give credit where credit's due. We've all been heavy critics of Starling Marte this season, but Marte ripped himself an absolute bomb that helped increase the Mets' lead at the time, folks. So before we break down this ball game inning by inning, as we always do, and please make sure to hit that like and subscribe on as you guys first chime in for our latest New York Metropolitan postgame show here. Let's start here just on the hitting alone. This is how the ball game ended for the Mets, guys, and this is what we're getting offensively 1 through 9. We're going to come back to these numbers, everybody, but I want you to glance at them right now and start to marinate your thoughts as to how you feel about the Mets' offensive outing as they out-hit the Rockies today 9-6. But again, we're fairly underwhelming for a team playing the Rockies who only have 9 effing wins on the regular season right now. They're not even on pace for more than 26 wins this season. Yet you mean to tell me that you couldn't score more than 4 runs today and it was all thanks to the lawn ball? 2 bombs by Lindor, 1 bomb by Marte. That's pretty much how all the party happened, with the one exception of Juan Soto. And we're going to talk more about Juan Soto here in a second, everybody, because again, he had himself a rock solid day at the plate. Not nearly as bad as the previous days. Pitching wise, I want you guys to start to marinate and formulate in your head, how would you grade David Pearson's final line today on a scale of 1 to 10. I already know what I'm going to say, but we're going to head back to this once we're actually done breaking down his segment of the ballgame as he goes just under 6 innings. Huascar Brosnan was nails with the exception of a solo shot he gave up to Sam Hilliard. Sam Hilliard hit his first home run of the year against him because of course he did. Reed Garrett touching 98, absolute bulldog, one of the best relievers in all of the National League to begin the season. And right up there with them is Edwin Diaz, who's now 12 for 12 on the season in save situations. And yes, Edwin Diaz has not allowed a hit, a batter to get on over their past 30 at-bats. Yes, batters are 0 for their last 30 against Edwin Diaz. He's 12 for his last 12 in save situations. To suggest that Sugar Diaz is officially back is an understatement, as Buddy goes out of his way to easily strike out the side for the measly Colorado Rockies to secure this 4-2 victory, guys. But there's one thing that we got to talk about oh so briefly before we get the party started here by breaking down this ball game, guys. You know it very well, as you guys can see just from the banner down below, and now what is going to pop up here in just one exact second, everybody. There you go. And that is, let me point right there. There we go. And that is thanks to our friends at SeatGeek for making tonight's show happen. You amazing supporters here on the platform, I can't thank enough for the subscriptions, the likes, the donations, and everything. But not only do you guys help keep things afloat here, which is why we produce daily high-quality Mets content for you guys, or at least I hope it's high quality to a degree, but also it's because of our amazing sponsors. And today's sponsor, SeatGeek, has you covered for all of your ticketing needs, especially on the Mets front, everybody. If you guys want to save some money, up to $20 on your next ticket purchase there, so 10% off with our promo code WARDY10, make sure to click it by clicking the link down below. But before you get there, let me tell you why you got to utilize SeatGeek, in case you're wondering, Wardy, I don't know, there's a lot of other good apps out there. I'm not going to say names for obvious reasons, but what separates SeatGeek from the rest? Great question that you guys asked, that I simply asked myself there, and this is exactly why I've been utilizing SeatGeek well before they became an official sponsor here on the platform. I'm happy to have them as a channel-wide sponsor for the entire season here for the 162 throughout the MLB season. And guys, this all goes in direct hand with what we have here, as you guys see beside me. It's their grading scale. Knowing on a scale of 1 to 10 from red to green in color coordination tells you just how good these tickets are. As you guys can see, these are some great bangs for your bucks, north of 10 in the rating and the green, and you should absolutely hammer said tickets there for the New York Metropolitans and the SeatGeek Gap. But if you're looking at tickets that are in the more 1 through 5 range and more in the red, they're not a good bang for your buck, and you're better off seeking other tickets elsewhere there in the SeatGeek Gap. So again, guys, if you want to save some dough on your next Mets ticket purchase, maybe you're doing a quick flight to Indy tomorrow for Game 6 of the Eastern Conference Finals if you're a Knicks fan like I am, or if you guys want concert show tickets, comedy show tickets, whatever you need on the ticketing front, again, our great friends at SeatGeek have you covered. So please make sure to check it out once more for 10% off your next ticket purchase. And shout out again to our friends at SeatGeek, not only for the amazing promo code WARDY10, but for being a great sponsor here on the platform. Now, guys, let's hop into this and let's break down this ball game. And again, thank you guys so much for the donations and from everything earlier. Jacob with a $5 holla. Final thing I'll answer, then let's get to breaking down this ball game finally. Just pick one and give them some time. Tough to get consistency when you're mad-libbing the lineup every day. I 100% agree. And all the more reason to have a guy like Vientos get consistent reps at DH while having Beatty get more consistent reps in the hot corner. Again, I think it's just counterintuitive by flip-flopping Vientos out of DH and third base for his own defensive development. I feel like it's only hurting things, and I know I'm not the only Mets fan that finds himself feeling that way. So I digress, everybody. Without further ado, let's break down this ball game. Mind you, everybody, Francisco Lindor and the Mets enter this ball game having won their past 24 games that Lindor finds himself hitting a home run. Not only did Lindor hit one bomb, he had two bombs in this fantastic outing. Seamus, great member. JTB, great member. All you guys watching live on the replay, thank you so much as we give you guys now our quick game breakdown from this 4-2 victory. And it begins right away in the first inning, everybody, as we see David Pearson towing the rubber with his sub-2 ERA on the year against the measly Rockies, and he has an easy 1-2-3 to begin this ball game. He gets a strikeout on Ezequiel Tovar and then a line on a Hunter Goodman, and that does it for a 1-2-3. In the bottom of the fifth, everybody, we would see the following, and that would be, yes, a bottom of the first, rather, Mr. Francisco Lindor, more like Francisco Lindbombs. Yet again, Lindor with his 11th home run this season, and obviously I'm feeling good about that because a leadoff bomb for Lindor, another day that ends in Y, feels like, but most notably, Lindor at home has been unbelievably dominant. Lindor at home and leadoff has been one of the best hitters in all Major League Baseball. Lindor at home and leadoff, and with the hit streak the Mets have now at home runs, the Mets, if I'm not mistaken, are just 4 home runs shy for Francisco Lindor to have now the MLB record for most consecutive games where one batter for a team hits a home run and that same team wins a ball game. That is how good Lindor is. So that home run that he rips, mind you, from the right side of the plate, that he has a long one to left, we see there, gets plenty of hang time off of Freeland, the southpaw, and that quickly makes it 1-0 New York Metropolitans. I want to know how you guys are feeling in the chat as well. What a fantastic game from Francisco Lindor to a degree. Juan Soto, Pete Alonso had something to say about the offense as well, as after 2 outs as Vientos and Soto went down in this one, Alonso ripped himself a 2-out double, his 18th double this season for Alonso. Love to see a runner's in scoring position for WardyNYM, who unfortunately is not able to drive him in this time, but the Mets would still obviously score more runs as this ball game continues. Well, 1 out after Taro Estrada has his first at-bat of the year as he just came back from injury for the Rockies. Brennan Doyle rips a 1-out single. Ryan McMahon, who has not been batting well at all, I think that's a great story and really summarization of just the Rockies' entire season. McMahon strikes out swinging there. A ground out then by Kyle Farmer does it then for the inning, everybody. We then get on to the bottom of the second, and we would see Starling Marte's first at-bat of the day. Mind you, Marte got the start at DH today that we saw. He would pop out. Then we would see Tyrone Taylor fly out. Wasn't for a lack of effort by Taylor. Absolutely roped one, but it's a fantastic catch in left field by Jordan Beck. That robbed Tyrone Taylor otherwise what felt like it could have been a great hit. Really, really nice catch by Beck in left, and there are 2 away, and Alvarez then with a ground out. That does it there for the inning. At the top of the third, we would see Toglia fly out. Tyler Freeman, who was traded right before the season began, or right around when the season began, there in a trade with the Cleveland Guardians. Freeman went, he was traded actually, I believe, for, what's his name? Nolan something. You guys know what I'm trying to say. Nolan something. And they actually used to be teammates. Nolan Jones, I think. Because Nolan Jones was with Cleveland. Then he was with the Rockies. And now he's back with Cleveland again. And him and Freeman are like best friends. So they were actually kind of like, oh my God, we're really getting traded for each other right now. That's bananas. Is it possible to become a member for free? Unfortunately, A2 it isn't. But the cheapest membership options that we have, if I'm not mistaken, I believe are only like $1 or so. They range from like $1 to not too much on a monthly. Just depends on really how much you want to support the channel. And again, they're all linked down below for you guys to check out in the description. Thank you guys so much for doing exactly that. If I made memberships free, the only downside is it really wouldn't separate them at all from just chiming in the chat like you guys typically do. So I do want to have some separation there naturally, and it's a great way for you guys to support me, separate from obviously the sponsorships and the donations that you guys do. I never ask for, but they're always appreciated, and I greatly appreciate everyone that's went out of their way to do that. But Freeman with a 1-out single, then Jordan Beck with a 1-out single as well. 2 on, 1 away for Ezequiel Tovar, who strikes out for the second time in just 3 innings. Tovar, who was a Gold Glover this past year for the Rockies, strikes out that we would see there on the curveball, and then we would see Hunter Goodman get on with a walk. So bases loaded, 2 outs for the Colorado Rockies, and here comes Taro Estrada for his second at-bat of the day, and thankfully he lines out, all thanks to a Francisco Lindor web gem. Jump man looking like Jordan out there, not going for a dunk, but this time to rob what easily should have been at least an RBI single. Fantastic catch by Lindor, and that keeps things in the Mets' favor, up 1-0, heading in the bottom of the third. In the bottom of the third, guys, we would see Lindor get on with a 1-out single, the second time he's on in the first 3 innings of the ball game. Vientos would be out on his second strikeout of the ball game as well, so not ideal for Mark's front. And then Juan Soto, everybody. Juan Soto finally snaps a skid. The longest hitless skid that Juan Soto has had since the 2022 season. He finally gets all this one for a nice double, his 11th of the season there in the right center gap that drives in Lindor, and the Mets have themselves a 2-0 lead. So Juan Soto finally had himself a productive day to a degree, and I would actually like to highlight that for a second, everybody. As we see here, Juan Soto's final line, folks, will be 2 for 4 with the RBI thanks to the double, a 229 average, and a 755 OPS on the season. Yes, this is the same Juan Soto that was batting 070 or so the past week of games that he's played. In the past 2 weeks or so of games that he's played, he was batting like a $150, like just not good numbers whatsoever. So why should we be encouraged at all with what we saw from Juan Soto today? It was definitely a step in the right direction. I liked his at bat that he especially had in the double, as well as that single up the middle that he had. Again, just taking better quality at bats, and I understand it's against a lesser opponent in the Colorado Rockies, but we still have to make note of it, because not only did Soto look solid at the plate today, but defensively he was sound, and he made one good play in right field in particular where he actually was behind. There was no denying it. He was actually at fault initially for the defensive blunder, but he made up for it there and made a nice snag still to end the inning unscathed later on in this ball game. So Juan Soto, guys, it's insane to see him with a 229 average and a 755 OPS. Little would I have ever thought that I'd see a guy like Brett Beatty and Luis Angel Acuna have a higher batting average than Juan Soto 2 months in the season. Yet here we are, everybody. But if there's one positive to take away from what Juan Soto did today, it was to finally drive a baseball into the gap. It's a snap his 0 for 17 skid, his longest since 2022. And this is also now a Juan Soto that's just trying to build more confidence, get more swagger going. And there was a great article that came out from Will Salmon of The Athletic that we broke down briefly in a video that dropped earlier today on the platform, talking about Juan Soto's little ritual that he has, and tradition rather, with the Mets outfielders. He makes sure that he talks to the Mets outfielders after every game and in between innings. Kind of they huddle up and do their own thing before going their separate ways. That way they make sure that they pick up each other more and know that even that, yes, it is a collective team effort, what they do specifically as outfielders should be something in its own as well. And it was kind of really cool to hear him break that down. And if you guys want to hear more about that quote, that is again from a piece from Will Salmon that I have linked in our previous video that dropped on the platform today. I want to say it dropped around 1 p.m. Eastern earlier today, so check it out in case you guys haven't already. But Juan Soto was productive, and we will gladly take a productive day from the one and only, as it helped lead the Mets to a 2-0 lead at that point in the ball game. And as we continue on with the Juan Soto stuff, the Mets would be up 2-0. Afterwards, Alonso would drive out a line out to end the inning, but not before the Mets are now up a pair. And the fourth, we would see Brennan Doyle strike out swinging, a ground out there on Ryan McMahon, and a line out for Kyle Farmer, and that does it there for a 1-2-3 for Mr. David Pearson, the quality southpaw. And the bottom of the fourth, after a strikeout from Brandon Nimmo to kickstart the inning, Starling Marte gets all of that one, baby. A Marte McFly, and it's a Marte Parte for the Mets as he rips one off the southpaw, Mr. Freeland. And listen, when Freeland throws an 88-mile-per-hour cutter, basically, middle, just slightly in, yeah, Marte's going to turn on that no problem. 107 miles per hour, 430 feet, 26-degree launch angle, and the Mets have themselves a 3-0 lead thanks to Starling Marte's, star-studded Starling Marte's third home run this season, guys. Here's my question to each and every one of you. Let me know in the live chat and the comments down below, folks. Do you think that Starling Marte is a player that's going to be with this Mets team all the way until the end of the regular season? Or do you think that Marte is either going to be A, DFA'd, or be traded of some sort before then? I would love to hear your thoughts on the Marte front, as he had a productive day today, but we know that those are pretty few and far in between for a guy who's very limited in his upside with the Mets at this point in his career. We saw Tyrone Taylor and Alvarez ground out, and that does it for the fourth. And the fifth, we would see another 1-2-3 inning of work there. Brilliant inning by David Pearson, utilizing that infield greatly. Michael Toglia would have ground out, Tyler Freeman would have ground out, and Jordan Beck would have fly out for a nice 1-2-3. You guys say trade. A lot of you guys think Marte is going to get traded. Isn't Marte's contract big, though? Yeah, he is still at like right around 20 mil AAV or so, but it's the final year of his deal. So in any scenario that the Mets would consider to trade someone like Marte, it would be in the absolute class of you're trading him while eating the majority of his contract. So it's really more of a salary dump. I shouldn't even say salary dump, but just a player dump, not even a salary dump, because again, you would eat most of his contract in a walk year. That makes sense to do. Darren, thank you so much for the $5 haul. I appreciate that, my man. Darren says, what are you the best there is, the best there was, best there will ever be? Oh, you're making me blush here on this fine. What day is it? Friday night. Thank you so much, my man. LFGM, wishing you and your family all the best in future endeavors. Same to you and yours, Darren. I really appreciate that. Stuff like that gets me going. It gets me hyped up to get my day going. So thank you so much for that. And guys, also, thank you so much for the support. Not only am I excited to be breaking down the remainder of this Rockies series for you guys on the platform throughout the weekend, but as we get in next week, guys, I announced it on our membership show, and I think I briefly mentioned it in my video dropping earlier today, but I will reiterate this because I want my West Coast Mets fans to hear this all the way in the back. Your guy Wardy is going to be attending Game 1 Mets-Dodgers there in LA. First time I'll be in LA. Very excited for it. I've been in San Diego before. That was electric. I know San Diego and LA are not necessarily the same thing, so I'm expecting highs and some lows at the same time. But I'm really looking forward to it, guys. So again, be on the lookout for your guy Wardy. I will probably have live coverage either from Dodger Stadium or right as I have left Dodger Stadium, where I will be crashing, which is not too far from the stadium itself. So be on the lookout for that, everybody. I will be in LA for pretty much the majority of the week there, starting Monday, and it's going to be an absolute blast to see what that experience is going to be like there. So definitely be on the lookout for the content. It's going to be a late night for all you guys on the East Coast, but for your guy Wardy, it's actually going to be normal time. So I should be nice and spry and should have no issues, hopefully, relaying the content for you guys each night there on the West Coast, covering the Mets-Dodgers games live as they're actively happening. And I don't know if I will be attending more than just Game 1. We'll see what happens, kind of play it by ear. But this is all courtesy of a great friend of mine that I will relay more on once I actually land there in LA, guys. But again, thank you so much for the support. Really, really excited for it, and this is going to be a fun little work trip to get done throughout the week before we head back here and get everything more in a groove and afloat throughout the remaining month of June. But as we continue on, everybody, and the reason why I'm relaying it once more is because I know we got a lot of Mets fans that are living in LA that are Cali fans as well, so I would be more than happy to interact and hang out with you guys there when we're in LA together. I think that's gonna be a lot of fun. But guys, talking about Jesse Winker, there is nothing positive on that front yet. Unfortunately, he still is working his way back from injury. Once we find out a proper update on Winker, I will certainly relay that to each and every one of you. We have not heard official word as to when he's getting set to start a rehab assignment or anything along those lines yet, the way that we've heard encouraging news on the front of guys like Frankie Montas and Sean Manaea separately. But getting back in this ballgame, everybody, let's break it down, because as we get to the bottom of the fifth, the Mets go down in order from Acuna's fly out, Lindor's fly out, and then Vientos strikes out already for the third time today. So not only did Mark Vientos have a defensive blunder that hurt the Mets later on in this ballgame, but offensively, he just had nothing to show. 3 strikeouts, not going to cut it, unfortunately, for Mark today, as we then enter the top of the 6th. In the top of the 6th, Tovar would strike out. Goodman would get on there, would be grounded out. A nice play by Vientos. And this is where things get interesting, everybody. So listen to this. We see Mark Vientos make a really nice play in the hot corner there to get the throw in Hunter Goodman. Taro Estrada then gets on with a hit by pitch. Brennan Doyle then gets on with a single. And then Ryan McMahon, everybody, we would see there Ryan McMahon rip a double to make a 3-1 Colorado Rocky deficit. But here's the context. The hit prior by Brennan Doyle was deflected off of Mark Vientos. And Vientos, they're not going to give him the error because it wasn't enough to warrant an error, but it was based on his glove placement. And he just missed the catch with the glove, with the reach there. I believe he was on a knee, but don't quote me on it. I want to say he was on a one-knee situation, and he just could not make the catcher. That's a play that, again, Brett Beatty eats up every single day of the week. And as I say this, please know this is not a slight at all on Vientos. I got no ill with the guy. Love him to death. He knows that very well. But when it comes to defensively, where our things sound right now, they are far more in favor of Brett Beatty than they are Vientos. And what is one thing that Beatty's been able to seamlessly do, regardless on if he's at second base, DH, or third, it's to still play supreme defense regardless on his utilization. You guys see the difference there? Like Vientos, if he gets a couple more games there that we're going to see at DH, then he goes to the hot corner, it's pretty much a guarantee that he's not going to play the best defensive game there. Beatty, if he gets a start at DH or second base and then gets a start at the hot corner, or comes off the bench as a late game replacement, you know that he's far from a liability there. So that has really been what separated Beatty from Vientos. And then you add in, obviously, all the other things. If Vientos isn't hitting, he doesn't give you any other upside for the team itself. Again, not a slight on Mark, it's just a reality. He's a net negative base runner. He is a net negative defender. And if he's a net negative offensively, then again, we are kind of grasping at straws as to how much we can properly utilize him in this lineup. We want to see Vientos break out and get back to being that north of a 30 home run bat he was last year. But so far this season, he has been not only underwhelming on the consistency front, but you can tell that he's just really going through it. And the growing pains that come with him in his true sophomore season, when this is the same Vientos that had some luck per BABIP last year. You can tell from how pitchers are approaching him and how his at-bats have been that they've been a bit more lackadaisical. Again, not horrendous by any stretch, but we're all seeking more from Mark on every facet right now, and he knows that very well. But it's a 3-1 Mets lead here, and Huasco Brosban comes in, and Brazo trying to handle runners at second and third with 2 outs, and he does exactly that. Gets a key flyout from Mickey Moniak to BrandonNYM, and now Huasco Brosban, guys, has now, in fact, taken down 7 of the 9 inherited runners that he has sustained so far this season. So you can't say that Brazo has been clutch when called upon in those situations, because he most certainly has been. As we get to the bottom of 6th, everybody, Juan Soto rip his second and final hit of the ball again, this time up the middle there to Doyle. Then we see Alonso quickly ground into a double play, unfortunately. Nimmo gets on with a single finally, and Marte would ground out. And the top of the 7th, we would see Sam Hilliard greet Mr. that being and Huasco Brosban rudely after he comes in to pinch hit for Tyler Freeman. And mind you, this was Hilliard's first home run of the season. That makes it a 1-run ball game. And I'm sorry, guys, I should not be at all ever sweating in a game against the Rockies and the big 2025. The Rockies are the Rockies, the Mets are the Mets, and the fact that this game was even close is disgusting, in my opinion. Hilliard, with that solo shot, makes it 3-2 Mets. Tovar would line out then eventually to end the inning, but not before they make it a 1-run ball game. Herget comes in relief for Friedland in the bottom of the 7th. And in the bottom of the 7th, Taylor would be grounded out. What should have been a single every day of the week was absolutely ate up by a fantastic web gem from Ezequiel Tovar. Give credit where credit's due. It was a great play by him. Francisco Alvarez and strikes out swinging. Alvarez did not have a good day at the plate at all today. And I understand fans being underwhelmed by Alvarez. I can't doubt you at all. He's down to a 234 average and 629 OPS. Everyone's chanting, "We want Torrens. We want Torrens." And I don't blame you for saying that. Let's see, guys. Acuna would fly out as, again, he got the start today at second base. And now here comes Brett Beatty. Brett Beatty comes in defensively for the final 2 innings of the ballgame for Mark Vientos at third and batting there in the 2-hole. And what happens? Brett Beatty's first play is right away there as is a pop out to him from Hunter Goodman to begin the 8th inning. Taro Estrada strikes out and Brennan Doyle strikes out. Fantastic inning of work there from Reed Garrett, who had the velo looking oh so nasty. First strikeout there was on the sinker at 98 miles per hour. Beautifully placed down and in there to the batter. And then Brennan Doyle there on strike 3. It was disgustingly good on the splitty at 91 there. That we saw down and a little bit away. Just gorgeous pitches by Reed Garrett, who's clearly in a groove right now. And the Mets then head to the bottom of the 8th. In the bottom of the 8th, after a home run review, because the schmucks we call umpires, again, are once again blind, doing their best Helen Keller impression, we see Lindor go opposite field this time from the left side of the plate. And that makes it a 4-2 New York Metropolitan lead. Lindor's towering 2 home runs helped lead the Mets ultimately to victory. But before we got there, Brett Beatty, in his first and only at bat today, rips a single right away to the right side. Soto unfortunately grounds down to a double play because of course he does, and Alonso pops out, which then gets the party set for the 9th inning. Here comes Edwin Sugar Diaz, and cue those trumpets, everybody. We would see Sugar have himself an easy 3 pitches to McMahon. You're out of here. 98 foul-tipped gas there, up and away. It is just dotted paint. So good by Edwin Diaz. Then it's Mickey Moniak, a more respectable 7-pitch at-bat. Still leads to a strike 3 on a swinging strike, and 97 up and away. Same exact pitch as the pitch prior there to Ryan McMahon. And last but not least, Michael Toglia. The power bat, no problem. 4 pitches, you're out of here. Doesn't even touch the zone once. That being it, Edwin Diaz. It's hilarious. First pitch was a ball, nowhere close to the zone. Second pitch is a fouled off slider. Third is a called strike there that we see that did not even touch the zone. Outside corner that was in the Mets' favor. Not a great call, but again, too close of a call for the to allow Toglia to take. And then a swinging strike on a fastball up and away 99. Edwin Diaz was in his effing bag today, everybody. And the Mets go on to win this one won once more by a final score of, yes, 4-2. So let's get into some of the specifics from this outing today, everybody. Let's begin on the pitching end. David Peterson was not stellar, but he was rock solid, giving the Mets 5.2 innings on 94 pitches, a 5-hit, 1 walk, 1 earned run, 5 strikeout ball with a 2.69 ERA still on the season. Runners in scoring position is still rest in peace. Thank you so much for the donation, Moon Shadow, great member. You're not wrong, even though I will say at least the Mets only had 2 runner in scoring position opportunities today, so we can't rag on them too much there. But yes, they were 0 for 2 and left 3 on base, but smaller sample size today, thankfully. Moon Shadow, appreciate the donation. And David Pearson, everybody, let's take a look at his arsenal today and what was working for him versus what wasn't. And as we see here, everybody, courtesy of Baseball Savant, such a fantastic website, you utilize so much of this information right away to relay to you guys. He had the entire 5-pitch mix working today. Topping out was the 4-seam fastball, mostly at 29% of the arsenal. Topping out 94, sitting 92. The slider at 24% of the arsenal was topping out 85 and sitting 84. The sinker was at 20% of his arsenal, topping out 92 and sitting right around 91. The curveball at 17% of his arsenal was topping out 81, sitting right around 79. And the changeup at just 10% of the arsenal, topped at 86 and sat right around 84. David Pearson, guys, this was a rock solid outing for him. So from your guy Wardy, I'm going to be giving Peterson today on the grade. We are going to be going with a 6.5 out of 10 from your guy Wardy. And funny enough, some of the grades I'm already seeing in the chat from you guys are the same exact thing. So definitely relay, guys, what would you grade Mr. David Pearson's final line on a scale of 1 to 10? Another sharp outing for him, not going to complain. Daniel Caps, great member, spamming the chat saying the following: Wardy Pearson has the 10th best ERA since last year with starting pitchers of at least 20 plus starts. I'm not at all surprised to hear that, considering Peterson has been one of the more reliable pitchers in all the National League since he returned from hip surgery in June of the 2024 season. Since then, Peterson has been pretty much nails, and that has continued here into 2025. So I'm going again with Mr. David Peterson and a 6.5 grade out of 10 for his final line today. And I would love to hear from you guys watching live and again in the comments down below. How would you grade Pearson's final line? And thank you guys so much for doing exactly that. Now let's go from talking about David Pearson to talking a bit more on the hitting, because yes, Juan Soto had a productive day today, but Juan Soto isn't Wardy's big standout of the day. He is not Wardy's #1 star, because I don't think it takes a rocket scientist to figure out who Wardy's #1 star of tonight's game is going to be. Yes, you guessed it, everybody. It has to be El Captain, Lindor himself, and Francisco Lindor. And what I love so much about Lindor's plate approach today was his ability to hit from both sides, right? It's always impressive when Lindor has a leadoff bomb, because you're feeling great as a Mets fan. You're saying to yourself, yeah, there's a damn good reality that we're going to win this ball game, but an even greater one when Lindor not hits 1 home run, but 2 home runs. First in the beginning of the ball game, and second in his final at bat of the day. Lindor goes 3 for 4 with not 1, but 2 home runs on the day, 2 RBIs, a 278 average, and an 827 OPS now on the season for Lindor. And I actually want to double check to make sure that those stats aren't wrong. They might be just because I edited them last second. Let's see here. Lindor, yep, no, they're correct. 278 average, 827 OPS for Lindor after the 2 home run day. And mind you guys, not only have the Mets won 25 straight games that Francisco Lindor has now homered in. And Zach, I go with the 0.5s because it's an easier way for me. Then with the rounded numbers, I feel like there's too much variety if I go with a 6th grade or a 7th grade. 0.5 allows a bit more wiggle room and leeway for depending on exactly what I want the grade to be. Why haven't they named Lindor captain yet? I think because they're waiting for somewhere or sometime specific to do it. Something that sticks out like a sore thumb right away is, in fact, David Wright's number retirement day there that we see in June or July. I could see a role where they announce it then, and if they don't, that's perfectly fine. That doesn't happen then. I wouldn't be shocked if it happened at a different point in the season. Lindor, it's inevitably going to happen that he will get the captaincy status. We're just waiting as to when they're officially going to make that happen. But Francisco Lindor, guys, the web gems looked fantastic. The home runs looked fantastic as well. And to relay a couple more numbers for you guys, especially on the Lindor front, Lindor's 122nd home run that he hit today has now, in fact, tied him for 11th in franchise history with Kevin McReynolds. Yes, guys, the same Francisco Lindor that it feels like yesterday the Mets traded for entering the 2021 season is already 11th all-time on the Mets home run leaderboard. Like, has that kicked in to any of you guys yet? I'm really curious if that's kicked in. 11th all-time on the Mets home run leaderboard for a guy who has only been here for 4 seasons. He's in his 4th year right now, guys. unbelievably impressive what he's doing at the plate right now. And he also tied Beltran and Huntley with 5 games hitting home runs from both sides in a game. Absolutely insane. Daniel Caps, thank you so much for the relay there. I appreciate that. You're either a leader or not. Absolutely. And Bobby G, thankfully, in the case of Lindor, he is exactly everything and then some that you would hope a leader to be. I'm not only grateful to say that Francisco Lindor is on my team as a Mets fan, I am truly taken back as to how much he has revolutionized this franchise. You know, we can sit here and say how much this goes down with Steve Cohen, because Lindor doesn't happen without Cohen, obviously. That goes without saying. But at the same time, what Lindor has done single-handedly with the on-field product, the off-field product, the leadership qualities, the charity work each and every offseason, again, the guy is just as humble and as fantastic as they come, and he's a perfect model on the side when he's doing shit for GQ, him and his mama, not mama, I should say, his wife, that being Encatiana, and if anything, baby mama, but it's his wifey there, Encatiana. I think she was just on a GQ mag recently, if I'm not mistaken. So they're just the picture perfect couple with the 3 kiddos right now, and I'm loving everything about Lindor and what he's doing for the Mets team. So we definitely want to hear what you guys have to say about that, the comments down below. Did I just say Todd Hudley's name, Tyler? Did I just say Todd? Yeah, I did. He tied Hudley and Carlos Beltran for having 5 games hitting from both sides of the game on a home run. Really, really impressive stuff from a switch hitter standpoint. Yeah, really, really good. The Lindorks are ghost farts. They are. You know, there was one specific Lindork that we missed a lot from last year, and his name was Priest on a Plane or something along those lines, and he'd be in our live chat like all year last year. I don't know what happened to Priest. I don't know if he's still watching, but he's just MIA or what, but his whole shtick was last year was that Lindor sucks. And then once Lindor started get going, it just became kind of a joke where even when he was performing well, he would still go out of his way to rag on him. We haven't heard from him, though, since last season, so I hope everything's okay with that front. That's the one thing I will say that I always think about, because I interact with so many of you guys on a daily basis here live. We interact with thousands of people, literally every single day, and it's such an amazing thing that I'm so grateful for. But the one downside I notice is when I see, you know, like reoccurring viewers for a while, and I don't see them again. And I don't see them really on other platforms from, you know, my casual watching on other things. So I'm just left wondering what happened to them. I hope they're okay more than anything. Priest only shows up like GSU when someone is playing bad or they lose, but I haven't even seen him when they've lost this year. So yeah, if you guys can do the digging for me, we got to find Priest on a Plane. He was like the true #1 Lindor hater, like consistently all year last year. Priest was here the first week or so, but he's been MIA since. I know he is a part of the Wardy lore. He's just one of many. There's a lot of people a part of the Wardy lore over the past 4.5 years. A lot of people. Because again, when you build a platform of over 33,000 subscribers, clearly you're going to interact with a couple interesting minds or two. Juliet, thank you so much for the $5 holla. Juliet states the following: keep in mind his rough beginning when we want to get down on Soto. Soto will turn it around. Absolutely. I know Soto will turn it around. There's so many reasons to believe he will turn it around. He's just been in his head, and hopefully again he can just start to get in the groove and thrive more in this homestand beginning today. But going on, guys. And Juan, I don't think that you blocked him either. Like, I know that you've been trigger happy in the past, Juan, like when it comes to, you know, kicking someone early, but I don't think we blocked him. I think I checked not long ago and he hasn't been blocked. So we'll see on that front. Bobby G, you misunderstood my comment where I apologize. Lindor's our captain. Yes, no, I get what you're saying. Regardless of the label, he's our guy. He's our captain. I 1,000% get what you're saying. 100% agree. And again, thank you so much for the comments there, Bobby G. I appreciate that. But guys, now getting on, let's just look here on the heading end for a second. Again, this is how the ball game ended for the Mets. This was the following lineup. Shohei Ohtani and Aaron Judge, guys, have homered in the first inning today across Major League Baseball. So there you go. So Dodgers, Yankees, big series right now. Shohei Ohtani just matched Aaron Judge's long ball there right away on the first pitch from Max Fried. So if you guys want to watch a potential masterclass of a ball game outside the Mets Rockies series today, I implore you guys to check out the Mets, the Dodgers Yankees matchup. It might be an absolute villain matchup for you depending on who you're asking, but just from a baseball purist standpoint, it's probably going to be a good series to watch. So give it a watch should you guys have interest. But as you guys hear, Lindor, a 3-for-4 game with the 2 home runs, 278 average, 827 OPS. Mark Vientos started the ball game, 321 average, 679 OPS. Brett Beatty ended the ball game in the hot corner, 250 average, 758 OPS. Juan Soto, 229 average, 755 OPS. Pete Alonso with his double today, 289 average, 692, pardon me, 928 OPS. I don't know what I was saying there. Brandon Nimmo, 1 for 3, 227 average, 692 OPS. Sterling Marte, 228 average. When his solo shot his third of the year at his 698 OPS. Tyrone Taylor, 240 average, 643 OPS. Francisco Alvarez, 234 average, 629 OPS. And Luis Angel Acuna, 0 for in this one, sadly, 254 average, 609 OPS. Acuna has really fallen from grace a bit on the offensive end since obviously he won NL Rookie of the Year there, Rookie of the Month rather, in the month of April. Wardy for the hitting coach, fire Chavez. I know a lot of you guys want Chavez and Barnes out of here. That's been a broken record for a bit now this season as well, and I do completely understand to an extent. What I will say, guys, is that the Mets are 35-22 on the season. I know the Phillies have been playing great baseball, but still, got a lot to be happy about right now as a Mets fan when there are still so many things that have yet to fully click for this team. Like a lot more things need to click on all full cylinders when we evaluate this Mets team. No doubt about it, everybody. But that's what you got on the offensive end. And we talked about the pitching, but just once more, everybody, and that was the David Pearson slide. I apologize. I clicked the wrong ones because I have them labeled pitching stats, and then once is player of the game with pitcher, but I just read the pitcher part, and I'm just trigger happy to click on it right away, so I apologize. That is the final line for the pitching today. Again, guys, look at that bullpen. Just look at the entire pitching staff, guys. Sub 2.7 ERA for Pearson. 1.3, a whopping 1.3 for Brazaman. 0.73 for Reed Garrett is disgustingly good. And that Edwin Diaz at 2.31 now. Again, Sugar is in such a groove right now. He's absolutely locked in, baby. And I definitely want to hear your guys' biggest takeaways from this victory here in the comments down below. So, guys, that's going to do it for the live show for all of our replay viewers. For everyone watching live, guys, we're going to continue on the live show for another 10 minutes or so I can answer whatever comments, questions, or concerns you got for your guy Wardy today. But to all of our replay viewers, this is where we will be cutting things off. So please let me know your biggest takeaways in the comments down below from tonight's 4-2 victory. And be on the lookout for more content tomorrow. Certainly a post-game show after Game 2 of the series. And then it'll get us all set, if you're a Knicks fan as well, for Knicks Pacers Game 6 in Indy there, that we're going to see big game starting 8 p.m. Eastern or so. So it perfectly aligns from the Mets game to transition from that to post-game show to the Knicks game. So I'm going to have myself a day. Tomorrow's either going to be a great day or a terrible day for a Mets and a Knicks fan like me. We'll just have to wait and see. But all my replay viewers, thank you guys again for watching. Everyone watching live, we're going to continue answering those comments, questions, and concerns. But everyone on replay, this is where we're cutting things off. Let's go Mets, baby. Peace out.